So this guy says, I used to be a huge fan of JRPGs, but as I've gotten older, I feel that the clichés and JRPG tropes to make most games feel the same. Yeah, I feel the same way. Well, it's kind of hard because art, any form of art, is influenced by another form of art and so on. So that's why a lot of things nowadays feel like they're a repetition. Like in terms of Fight Club, a copy of a copy of a copy. Everything's a copy of a copy of a copy. Everything is highly influenced by something that was highly influenced by something and so on. So when we watch a lot of movies of the same genre, or in this case we play a lot of games of the same genre, we start seeing the same cliches, the same tropes, the same gameplay mechanics, the same everything over and over and over again. And for a guy like me, who loves the genre and have been an addict to the genres for the past 20 years or so, I get you. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like, to repeat the same story over and over again, to like, man, this character is behaving the exact same way as this other, and this scene is the same, this is the classic scene, the classic this, I've seen this 10,000 times already, so it's a bit of a pain in the ass to just sit there and enjoy it, All we can do is pretend to enjoy it or skip it, Or we can change our perspective and say, okay, this is part of the genre that I love, so even if it's boring and if it's tiresome and we've seen it 1,000 times, best we can do is just see through it, and just click the button to skip the dialogue or to advance and then pretend to read it. I don't know. There's many ways to deal with cliches and tropes, but what I'm trying to say is that this is how the genre is. It's just not gonna change. It's gonna be like that forever, probably. Newer cliches are being made as well. There's cliches I've seen in JRPGs that weren't there in the 90s humor or the 90s stuff, they're more like today. For example, a lot of let's take Persona for example. There's a lot of psychological things in there and how people deal with their other selves, with the multiple personalities, not as the illness, not as in the illness, just like as an example, how we react differently to different situations and how we all have a dark side. That was very, very rarely seen in JRPGs from the early 90s or the alleged golden age, right? But nowadays, they're pretty common. We see all these characters deal with these situations and we're like, man, this has been done to death already and stuff like that. And there are timeless, not timeless as in positive, but there are timeless cliches that have been there since the 70s or the 80s and they're still being done today. And a lot of people love them. Me, I'm a little bit more like you. I'm like, oh man, this fucking scene again, or this situation again, or this joke, or this humor, or for example, one of the most classic, super overly done cliches and tropes in JRPGs is the awkward couple trope. Okay, you got Lloyd and Ellie, right? And they're that fucking couple, with that fucking relationship. Like they're too shy to admit they like each other, they're onto each other, or they're too, uncomfortable when somebody makes a joke or teases them. They're like, no, it's not like that, it's not like that. We're fucking tired of that, I'm fucking tired of that. But I still pull through, because it's just something that doesn't really ruin my experience. But it's worth it, it's worth putting through those cliches and tropes to enjoy the highlights of the story. It's worth putting that, because you get rewarded with a fantastic story and great character development. But yeah, cliches and tropes are not gonna go away anytime soon. They will be there probably forever, even if in the best stories ever written, they will prevail, unfortunately.